I hope that you are seeing my slides as well.
Yes.
Perfect. So I was just introducing the topic of my presentation. Is focused on the Common Innovation European Initiative on the just-in-time arrivals domain and how we intend to build it in line with the continuous improvement towards enhanced efficiency and maritime for decarbonization. I will start with a short background about why it's important for ports and the maritime industry to progress towards just-in-time operations. First of all, I think it's worth to say that there is a recognized need by the industry, both ports and shipping, about the absence of useful and harmonized operational standards. This lack of suitable standards has contributed to fix some structural inefficiencies in the sector, especially when maritime transport interfaces with ports. Waiting times and congestion at many ports and maritime areas, which contribute to generate large amount of additional greenhouse gas emissions. These are examples of this. In this context, IMO has set up several resolutions to facilitate the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in shipping by optimizing navigation speed and by promoting the collaboration among agents, both from the port and from the shipping worlds, involved in the management of port calls. So, looking at this particular piece of the process, we can say that from the operational point of view, the port call process still relies very much on non-digital communication means, with the particularity that this is a very fragmented process with multiple agents involved that require accurate information in real time to perform their activities. This situation involving non-digital culture generates high volumes of redundant, non-structured and non-standardized information that contributes to maintain these inefficiencies. On the other hand, we see a relevant environmental benefit in terms of greenhouse gas emissions saving when applying different degrees of just-in-time navigation and arrivals at ports. As my previous colleague, Ulf, that has performed a great song, and I have to learn the lyrics. He advanced that during the STM validation project, we simulated different scenarios using 1 year of real AIS data and different scenarios considering a speed reduction. And the results showed that potential reductions up to 20% of CO2 and SOx emissions, depending on the degree of speed reduction. But these first studies show a promising potential improvement if the industry is able to adopt efficient instruments to deploy and to work on this just-in-time arrivals schema. So I will move then to explain about the European initiative that we are trying to build. We are at this moment we're building that. We think that to set in this initiative at European level, of course, this requires a strategy which could be deployed with these phases, the following phases that I will mention. First, defining a unique language to address the port call process stages and provide harmonized definitions. As I mentioned before, the port call process still lacks of these common accepted standards. So this is a relevant phase that we should focus on. Then develop and deploy the technological layer able to interconnect, to transmit and visualize the information generated in the port call process. And finally, test these technologies and solutions in the real operations and measure the impact in terms of efficiency, time savings compared to previous situations, for example, and emission savings compared as well to the previous scenario. Which benefits could we expect from the application of this strategy? You are seeing this in the next slide. We have mentioned some of them before. Introducing digitalization in the port call process, not for the sake of digitalization in itself, but for the consequences generated thanks to this change in culture. We may find the ability to update, share, and receive accurate and reliable information in real time to and from all agents involved in the port call operations. Also allowing direct communication with the ship even before the arrival, thus increasing the planning capacity of the port and therefore the operational capacity. And of course, increase the situational awareness and increase safety conditions during the operations. And I must say that this is just the beginning, because there is a big room for new technologies like artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, big data. All these new Industry 4.0 new disciplines will transform the sector and can be applied in this particular piece of the process, this strategic process, the port call. So just to end in some practical application of this strategy in this, with this innovation approach, we see different levels in the application of just-in-time arrivals of ships and with ports. The first level that we consider refers to the inter-port coordination among the port call service providers. Here we can consider, for example, the pilots associations, towage and mooring companies, and also traffic control operators. It must be said that the coordination among these agents, speaking in general, is done today by non-digital means. And here we are talking about the pure execution process when the ship is already entering into the port. So this requires, as I was saying before, a change in the working culture and in the introduction of these new technologies. Going further, if we expand this scope, another level of integration refers to the port operators, the port authorities, which have a relevant role in the management of the berthing slots. This is in the next slide. Thank you. And the coordination of cargo operations for the ship. Here we introduce the concept of planning of the port call, as terminals and port authorities manage in advance information about the estimated time of arrivals, the start, end of operations and departures, and other key events of the port call process. And finally, as a third level and holistic level, we could say we consider the integration of the previous situations that you have seen, involving all the agents under the same communication ecosystem, and also the ship even before the arrival. Within this environment, all the information related to the port call process could be shared in real time, providing great visibility of the port call process to all the agents involved. And this is a very wide benefit for all the industry. Obviously, achieving this framework requires the deployment of digital solutions that make available the different events and timestamps to everyone under common formats. And I'm finalizing my intervention with this initial message about the need of appropriate standards to be adopted by the industry in order to make this approach a reality. As today, to represent and manage the complexity of the maritime port interface, it requires a digital ecosystem and a compendium of harmonized standards. So that was my intervention, my presentation. This is my last slide. So I really thank you for your attention and thank you for inviting me to this great conference. Thank you.